Hytale is finally here, and with it, Hypixel Studios gave us a suite of creative tools to bring our ideas to life within the game. In this tutorial series, we're diving into the possibilities of Hytale's tools and how we can use them for machinima and modding. This video will focus on facial animations in Blockbench, and so we will need to install some software and an external plugin that I wrote. If you have already followed my previous tutorials on these topics, you can skip ahead in the video to get animating. The main requirement for this tutorial, other than owning a copy of Hytale, is Blockbench. Blockbench is a modeling and animation tool specifically designed for voxel games like Hytale and Minecraft and offers direct export to Hytale's file formats. To install Blockbench, head to blockbench.net, link in the description, click download and choose the correct version for your operating system. Run through the installer and you'll be set to open Blockbench. Next, we need to install the official Hytale plugin for Blockbench. We'll get the official Hytale plugin for Blockbench by heading to File and Plugins. Here, you'll want to search for Hytale models if it doesn't show up on the start page already. Click it, click Install, and that worked. You'll see it under Installed here. And after you've installed that, we can move on to the next step. To actually get started with animating, we will need to extract the Assets folder from our Hytale installation. This folder contains all the models and textures we need to create our own content. To find the Hytale Assets folder, you can just open your Hytale launcher, click Settings, and under Directory, click Open Directory. That will open this directory. I already have this open right here. And once you're in here, you want to go to Install, Release, Package, Game, Latest, and then here you'll find the assets.zip file. You just copy that and then paste it into a folder that you have set up for your animation files. So I've set up this one right here. Paste, and then extract the archive by right-clicking it and selecting Extract All. Just press Extract. Now we wait for a little bit. Now that we've successfully extracted that, we're ready to move on. Thanks to Hytale's server-first approach to modding, working on and sharing creations with your friends has never been easier. And that's where Pine Hosting comes in. With Pine Hosting, you can set up your own high-performance server in minutes, with server locations all around the globe. Managing and modding your server is incredibly easy thanks to Pine Hosting's intuitive hosting platform, which makes it extremely easy to show off your own mods to friends or quickly add plugins with the built-in CurseForge plugin installer. Pine Hosting offers powerful and DDoS-protected servers for Hytale and a huge selection of other titles at affordable prices. Need some extra performance? Pine Hosting also offers fully dedicated servers for those who need the absolute best. And if you run into any problems along the way, their top-rated support team will assist you personally. No AI chatbots or long wait times. Pine Hosting will even help you move your server from another provider completely for free. That's why Pine Hosting is one of the top-rated hosting providers worldwide, with 4.9 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot. And if that's not trustworthy enough, the folks at Pine were kind enough to set me up with a server I could stress test, and I can confidently say that the performance and user experience is absolutely incredible. I even filmed this whole segment on that server. So whether you're modding, filming, or just playing with your friends, check out Pine Hosting today using the link in the video description and get 30% off your first order when using code FROST at checkout. Okay, now that everything is set up, we need one more Blockbench plugin. By default, there is no obvious way to animate the character's mouth in Blockbench, so to do that, we will be using a custom plugin that I've created. Head back to File and then Plugins to open the plugin screen again. You can automatically load the plugin from the link I have provided by clicking this icon and pasting in the link from the video description. Or just download the plugin file through the same link and then click this icon to import it from your hard drive. Just double click it, press OK, and it'll be installed. If you are unsure about the safety of this plugin, you are free to browse the source code by opening the downloaded file and looking through it yourself. Please note that both the official Hytale plugin and my UV Animator plugin are early in development and may contain bugs or not work correctly in some cases. If you find a bug with my plugin, feel free to send me a message on Discord. After we have installed that, we can start setting up our scene. In this tutorial, we want to create a custom animation for the player character, so we're going to need the player character model. You can find the model in the Assets folder, under Common and Characters. Here you'll find player with face.blocky model. So we're just going to drag this into Blockbench, like this, and this will prompt us to import some textures. So you're going to click Select Folder, and it should open the folder you were just in, Characters, So you can just click player textures once and then click select folder. And that will load the textures for the player character. We're going to select player grayscale here, just so we're not on the Outlander texture. Great, we have an empty player with some basic textures. If you just wanted to animate the body, this is technically everything you need. But since we want to animate the face, we actually need to add a face to the player. For that, we want to add some attachments using this button right here. I have no clue what happened on my installation here. For some reason, the button's there 3 times. You should only see it once. So you're going to click import attachment, and then you're going to go under body attachments, and we're going to add the eyes first. So we head to the folder eyes, and then click eyes.blockymodel. There we go. Our character has eyes. Note that whatever customization you do here in Blockbench won't matter, because we're only going to be exporting the animation files and applying them to our already existing characters. Adding the rest of the face follows a similar principle. Click import attachment, select body attachments, and then head to the folder of whatever you want to import. We'll do the mouth next, so we open mouth and click mouth1.blockymodel. There we go, we have a mouth. For the eyebrows, we do the same thing. We go to body attachments, eyebrows, and then we have 3 options. I'm just going to go with eyebrows medium, and you're going to see that these don't have any textures applied to them. So what you want to do is on the texture panel on the left here, you want to expand that and then click the plus icon, then head back to the character folder up here. Go to body attachments, eyebrows, and here we have all of the possible eyebrows. I'm going to go with the medium ones for this, and then select them here, and there we go, we have eyebrows. Again, it doesn't matter at all which textures you select here. These will only be used in the Blockbench preview, but the animation can be applied to any player character with any customization. Amazing, once you've added all the attachments you want to animate, we can go into the animation mode by selecting Animate on the top right here. This will open the animation view, which will look familiar to anyone who has done any kind of animation work before. If you have never animated anything, I do recommend you check out a tutorial on animating in general first, just to have a basic understanding of the concepts we'll be using here, and then come back. But if you're just looking to get through this tutorial, you can just follow what I'm doing and you should be fine. Before we start, please make sure you have both the Hytale and UV Animator plugins installed and enabled, as they are required for this tutorial. Just taking a look at the interface here, we have our timeline at the bottom. This is where our keyframes will be. On the right, we have a list of all the bones that we can expand and see everything we can animate on the player by just expanding it further. And to the left, we have our animations window. This is where our different animations will be. To get started, we can either create an animation from scratch or import an existing animation to modify. I'll just quickly go over how you can import an animation, but we will be creating a new one for the purpose of this video. To import an animation, you will need to go back to the assets folder we opened earlier. So we're going back to assets, and then we go again into common, characters, and animations. And these are a bunch of different categories of animations. I'm going to go into flavor and select the sit ground anim here, and I'll just drag that in here. There you go. The animation is selected and we can see it in here. Play it. And this is the normal sit ground animation that Hytale already has. Now, normally you'd want to copy this animation into your working folder, just so you don't modify the original reference. But since I'm not going to edit this anyways, that doesn't matter. I'll just unload it again. Now for this tutorial, we will be starting with a fresh animation. So just click the plus here. Name the animation. I'm going to name this tutorial face. Confirm. And there's our animation. It should already be selected and highlighted, but if it isn't, just click it and it will be highlighted. And now we can start animating. To animate any part of the body, we can simply click it in the preview or on the right here. For example, now I've selected the head. If you want to move the head, for example, make sure you actually select the head and not just the eyebrow, for example. You want the head. And then up here, you have a bunch of different tools: move, resize, and rotate. For the most part, we'll use rotate. So if I click rotate and then just drag this, you can see it turns the head. Also, you'll notice that once you move something, a keyframe will appear down here for that selected bone. And in our case, rotation, because we've just rotated it. Anytime you move something in the preview editor, it will place a keyframe at the current time. The current time is dictated by where this blue line is, but that should be obvious. I'm going to delete this keyframe because we just want to focus on the face here. So let's actually get to animating the face. I'll zoom in on the face for that. You can zoom in by scrolling, and then if we want to go up to the face, you can hold Shift and then hold down the middle mouse button, drag it down to go up, and there we have our face. If you want to animate the face, there are a few elements that are relevant. First of all, the eyes. So in here you'll see RI attachment and LI attachment. That stands for right eye attachment and left eye attachment. You want to open that up, open it up further and further until you just see RI, or for the left eye, obviously LI. You click that, and now you're going to be able to just move that around. So I'm going to have this in the original position here, and then a few frames later, I'll just have the character look over here. We'll do the same for the left eye. So we look for the left eye attachment, click the left eye, keyframe it once at the original position by just clicking the plus here. Go to the next position where we've also placed our keyframe for the right eye, and just move it as well to somewhere where it looks right. There you go. And now if you scroll through this, you can already see it moving. So if we just play this from the beginning, we'll see it's looking to that side. Let's say we want to make this shorter. We can just drag to select both of them and then drag them somewhere we want them. Now you can see this looks very stiff. So you could technically right click the keyframes and under interpolation, switch to smooth. And you'll see that looks a bit smoother. There are also elements for the eyelids. That's left eyelid bottom, and right eyelid bottom. So if we select the left eyelid here and just move it, you'll see, oops, what's that? That's not normal. Yeah, that's because we don't really move it. We have to scale it. So we go to the resize tool and just drag this down a lot. And then you'll see, oh, that starts to look a little bit like an eyelid. So now we can actually move it. And there you go. That's like an actual eyelid now that you can animate, but I'm not really going to be animating this here. But just remember, if you want to animate the eyelid, you have to scale it up first. So I'll just delete both of the keyframes to go back to normal. Same goes for the right eyelid and the bottom eyelids. So you also have to scale those up to actually use them. For the eyebrows, we just need to find the eyebrow attachments here, left eyebrow attachment and right eyebrow attachment. Open that up, click it, and now we can move it. And obviously also rotate it. And now we get to the complicated part, the mouth. To animate the mouth, we're going to click the mouth here and make sure on the right you have selected the lowest element, not mouth attachment, not mouth one mouth attachment, but mouth. And then in the timeline here, you're going to see a property called UV offset. We're going to want to add a keyframe to that. And if you click that keyframe over here, you see offset X and offset Y. If we go back to the edit tab here and click the mouth, you will actually see a little image up here of like a lot of different mouths. You can zoom into that by holding Control and then zooming in. And these are all the different mouths. And you can see if I move this, it changes the texture of the mouth. So this is what we actually want to animate. And that's usually impossible in Blockbench, but we have a plugin for that. So you just have to look up where the mouth is that you want. So on the horizontal axis, the mouths are 20 pixels apart. So every 20 pixels, there's a new mouth. On the vertical axis, they are 10 pixels apart. So heading back to the animation tab here, we know that the X offset should be 0, 20, 40. It's 20 pixels apart every time. And the Y offset should be 10 pixels apart. So if we just change this to 10, you'll see, oh, they're smiling. Change this to 20. Oh, they're frowning. 30, whatever that is. So if we go back to 10, smiling, and we change that to 20, bigger smile. 40, bigger smile. What happens if I put in 30? Yeah, that, we don't want that. So maybe we'll go to 80 here to actually have them smile. But we don't want them smiling at the start. So we just drag this keyframe a little bit further on, then add another one here with just offset 0, 0. And if we play this now, you'll see that the character is smiling at the end. You can see the animation ends quite abruptly after the character smiles. And to actually make it longer, we have this little blue bar up here, and we can just drag that later in the timeline, and then the animation will be longer. So let's say we want to add a third possible mouth. So we just go somewhere in the timeline, add a new UV offset keyframe. So maybe we want our character to be surprised. That one would be 120 and 30. So we have the surprised mouth here. And if we play it again, you'll see the different mouths. So I'll just get onto animating the eyes a little bit more, just so it looks a little better. So I'll just go back here, And maybe the character is just gonna, you know, look back and then be surprised by what they see in the front. Mind you, I'm not really an animator. I'm not that good at it. So all of these are just like example animations. So we just move that back to the original position here. If you don't know what the original position was, you can just like click the first keyframe where it was at the original position, you see, and just go somewhere in the timeline, copy it with Control C, paste it with Control V, same for up here. And now we have this animation. So to recap, you can animate the mouth with UV offsets. You're gonna have to figure out which one is which. You can always look that up in that little image over here in the actual texture. And let's say we want to actually use this now. So I'm gonna click save up here and just save this to the folder we use for everything right now. So it's called tutorialface.blockyanim. It's important that it's actually a .blockyanim file, otherwise this won't work. So we just save, then it should show you a little check mark here, which means it's saved. Great, we can close Blockbench. Great, now what do we do with it? We need to get this into Hytale somehow. So to do that, we obviously open Hytale. Okay, once we're in Hytale, we want to make a world, or just go into a world that you already have. For this tutorial, I'm going to make a new world, so creative, and then just name it something. I'll name this Face Tutorial. Create the world, and to test this, we'll just go into the normal zone 1. And this world's going to be our canvas for this test. Okay, but we don't actually need to do that much like in the actual game. What you're going to want to do is press enter, type /op self to give yourself operator privileges, then press B. And then under assets, open the asset editor. Anyone who has watched my previous tutorials will be very familiar with this. So if you know how to create an asset pack and include assets in it, you can skip this part. Now, up here, we're going to see Hytale, read only. And we want to create our own asset pack to actually use our own animations. So we're going to click these 3 dots here, add pack. We're going to name it something. I'm going to name this Face Tutorial and then put in my name here. I'm just going to leave the rest like this. Save. And there you go. It should say your name, colon, and the name you put in. We're actually going to need a model to put the animation on. So we're going to go back to the Hytale asset pack here. You will want to look for a folder called Model Assets. And then you scroll down until you see Human. In here you have one called Player. And this is read-only. So we want to copy this over to our asset pack. So you just right-click it, duplicate, and that's going to copy it to your asset pack. Make sure that's selected up here. And then we want to give it a unique name. I'm going to name this Tutorial Human. Create. And that's going to switch you over to your own asset pack again. And you're going to see Tutorial Human here. If you click the other tab up here again and then click this again, you're actually going to see the render of it. And I do have a tutorial on how to customize this. I'll put this up in the info card right here. But that's about all we need to do right now. You can close the asset editor, quit the world in Hytale. And then we need to go back to our Hytale folder. And this actually needs to be the Hytale folder that you opened from the launcher. So if you don't have that open anymore, just go to the launcher, press settings, and then open directory. So go back to the base folder here, Hytale, go to user data, saves, and then go to the world you just created. In my case, that's Face Tutorial, then mods, then look for the folder of the asset pack you just created. In my case, that's frost.facetutorial. Open it, and there is a file in here called manifest.json. Open that in any kind of text editor, for example, Notepad or Notepad++. I'm using Visual Studio Code, but like I said, any text editor works fine. And here you're going to see a property called include asset pack, and that is set to false. So you're going to want to remove the false here and just type in true, just like this, save it, Control S in my case, and then you can close out of this again. Now we need to create some folders. So you're going to create a new folder in here, and you call it Common. Open it, then create another folder called Characters. It's important you name these exactly like this. In here, you create one called Animations. Open that. And now we can go back to the folder where we saved our animation, tutorialface.blockyanim. I'm going to copy this. Go back to the Hytale folder. So animations right here, and just paste that in. There we go. That should be in here. And once you've done that, we're ready to go back into the game. So go back into Hytale, worlds, and just go back to your world from before. Right, once we're back in here, click B again, open the asset editor, switch back to your asset pack. And if you click on common here, you'll already see the characters folder. And down here, you will have your animation under characters, animations, and then it should be whatever you named it. So go back to server and find the human you just created. In my case, that's tutorial human. Click that. and then go to the Animations tab right here. Click the plus icon, give it a name. I'm going to call this Face Tutorial as well. Insert. That's going to show you an error. That's okay. We're going to scroll all the way down. Open this up. Open this up. Click plus here. Shows you another error. Open this up. And then up here where it says Animation, you want to click this empty field here. Click that. And then make sure you have your asset pack selected, and you can go straight into Animations and Tutorial Face.BlockYanim. That's selected. You can set that to loop. You can set the speed. And that's about all you need to do. Close this and go back into Hytale. And we actually want to apply this in a Machinima editor. So open Machinima, create a scene. I'm going to call this Face Tutorial, create scene. And then we want to add an actor here. So add a track. The actor type should be entity. Give it any name. I'm going to call this human. Create actor. Right click. Edit settings. And now we need to look for the name of the asset we made here. So tutorial human. So you just put tutorial human in here. Save changes. We haven't customized that character, so press N again. Click the human, and then under event right here, add an event. Should be an animation event. Added. Then on the right here, edit the event. And here you want to put in the animation ID that you just added. So mine is called Face Tutorial. So I'll add Face Tutorial. Save changes. Play it. Nothing happens. We've seen this in the other tutorials already. Just add a second keyframe somewhere. Like here. Play it. There you go. That's your animation. Obviously, I didn't animate the eyelids or the eyebrows, but that just follows the exact same principles as the things we did animate. So you should be able to figure that out by yourself just fine. Thanks to Pine Hosting for sponsoring this video, and to Frux and Voidloid for helping me film some of the background footage you saw earlier. I do hope that you learned something from this video, and if you did, a like or even a subscription to the channel would be greatly appreciated. As always, I wish you a lot of fun implementing this into your own projects, and goodbye.